All right. I think we're down to our last but not least, of course. We got Tariq with Quibi. Hello.
Oh, I was muted. Hello.
Yeah, I know. I gotta love it, right? It's always the fun game of can anyone hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we got, is it Quibi?
QB.
Okay. I had a feeling it might be one of the two that it wasn't pronouncing right. Great.
That's all right.
So I'll show your video, then we'll talk on the other side.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Let me get that rolling. Here's QB.
I think the volume's down.
Oh, I'm getting excited because I love a good. Tell me about QB.
So QB was originally made for the 2020 GMTK Game Jam.
Okay.
The theme of it was out of control. So I took that and said, hey, this 2D puzzle game where shooting is out of control. So basically the goal of each level is to shoot the light bulb at the end, but you can't control when you shoot. QB just fires when he fires, and you have to make sure you're in the right position to be able to shoot the things you need to shoot.
Oh, that's great. So there's a lot of different dimensions of that going on that are dynamics, rather.
Oh, yeah, there are.
So tell me a little bit about what it takes to get into that mindset to make something controlled but out of control.
Right.
Sounds like a fun life.
If you look at that game jam, there were like 5,000 submissions. So many of those games just had controls that were absolutely out of control and a mess to play in general. But I knew at the outset that I needed just one thing to be out of control and to have you be able to control it just a little to be able to play the game correctly.
Right.
Because otherwise it would be terrible.
Right.
So I drafted 4 different ideas. Yeah. And that's the one that worked the best out of what I came up with, shooting out of control. And then with that, design levels around it, come up with concepts. This was 48 hours, by the way, that I had to make this.
Whoa, really? That's
oh,
impressive.
Yeah. It was a 40-hour game jam.
Wow. Well, good for you, because that doesn't look it, that's for sure. Like with the music and the style, and I like the little animation to it.
That was my goal. I finished it in 36 hours before the deadline, thankfully.
Okay, you're really putting the jam aspect into this.
I really was, but it was such a good experience to get into.
I mean, put it this way, if this is your end product, do you think would you have done it a different way then? Like, I feel like this is kind of a good path for this to get to this point.
Well, I might have done it differently because originally I used a program called Game Maker 8, which is so obsolete that you can't even download it anywhere anymore. Now there's just Game Maker Studio. But I did it because that's what I knew. And it was very simple. But I probably would have done a lot of things different outside of a game jam. But I think this gets you to do rapid prototyping and game design very quickly and figure out what works and what doesn't. And it was awesome to do. And it actually made it to top 100 out of the 5,000 plus submissions. So I was happy about it.
See, that's the beautiful thing. And that's why, I am trying to find the themes from each of these games that are very different. And I think with this one, it's very much that, don't underestimate a good prototype. Like, you came up with a good idea, you really slammed the idea in and it worked. You
Yeah.
don't have to grind weeks and months into it. You nailed it.
Yeah, that's really all I did. Before I even got the final sprites or sound design on, I just put together the crappiest looking stuff and said, do the mechanics work well? And is it fun to play? And that's it.
You focus on the important parts, the parts that really get translated to the player. And it sounds like everyone kind of ate that up. Now, do you have a plan to work on it further? Or part of me says, like, I almost like that you could protect this 36-hour thing. Like, that's just what we're going to have.
So it technically is, because it's on itch.io. There's two versions.
Good.
The game jam version, which I released, and then the full, quote unquote, full game that I released afterwards, which if you saw at the end, there's like a different sort of layout. So that was a second world of 15 more levels that I added to the game after the game jam.
Okay. Okay. So you're still layering
cleaned up all the coding, and that's what I've gotten so far is 30 levels in total. It's nice. It's really fun, to be honest.
That's great. So you can just build on that original quick idea, and you have now you have depth, but you still have that fun story origin. So
that's
cool. Now, is there I'm reading the comments over here because I'm loving, people are just like 48 hours now, but especially the fact too, it's like, this is better than some, AAA titles, and you're just throwing this together. So testament to your skills. Is there anything else you want to highlight or leave us with? Just because this is already an inspiring story, so I love your story of this game.
Well, one of my biggest focuses was pacing well.
Yeah.
Because I wanted, in the first 24 hours of this game jam, to be completely finished with the game. And that's it. The game to be done and playable. Because the rest of the time should be used for polish. Because I know this is going to be judged by a community. You have unfinished games or games that don't look or sound right, it's going to get judged harshly, even though it shouldn't.
Oh, we're usually really nice about that, right, people?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, the community is always nice.
Oh, so lovely.
But because I'm a digital artist first, before a game designer, I said, hey, I'm going to be able to put a lot of good polish into the visuals and into the sound design, because bad sound design is usually unforgivable. So I'm glad I got those two things good.
You nailed down the important parts again.
Yeah. And then I was able to push it out. I was able to have friends test it before I even pushed out the final version.
Oh, good. Got some user testing in, man.
It just made it better. So having a good workflow is like such an amazing and important thing for making a game. And that showed me that, I don't have to take a long time to make something that's great for future projects.
If anything, I love the spirit of this as like our final note, because I think some people, they see elaborate games, they're like, well, how do you even begin? And it's like, give yourself 48 hours, see what you got. Just start.
Join a game jam. That's a good way to start.
Exactly. Yeah, game jam. Just really dive in there, go with it. That's great. Well, thanks so much for bringing your game to us. QB's awesome. I love this as a takeaway. And I guess we'll look for more levels and hopefully, take another long weekend and see what happens.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.